West, y'all.
Start too.
It's all good. Thanks for coming, guys. Is everyone out here from Southside? Everyone?
Yeah.
No one here's from out west?
Yeah.
No one? Oh.
This one too. There's 3 of us.
How 3 Westies out here.
Yeah.
Over here. Oh, welcome to the Back of 135 podcast. And thanks for DJ to allowing himself and his crew for the new show coming up in 2 weeks' time. What's the difference? Hey, that's the name of the show.
Yeah. What's the difference? 685 to the world.
I'm curious about that name. Where'd you get that name from? What's the difference, and what does it mean in terms of the whole show? Because the play is about, what I understand, is about, or the context of the story is about the parades. When Toa Samoa was playing in the World Cup last year.
Yeah, pretty much. I came up with that name because it's kind of like symbolizing not only the parades but within our own people. Like, what is the difference between us Kiwi-born Samoans and the Samoan-born Samoans? Like, why are we separated in some sort of way? And how did we come from that to, I guess, being part of a parade movement, like coming together as one, like a unity? So that's pretty much where I came up with the idea to have the show titled called What's the Difference? And the tagline 685 to the world, because that's what it is. And yeah.
That's an interesting concept, because when I think about the Toa Samoa team, most of those guys are either New Zealand born or Australian born. Oh, so
Yeah.
probably what's the difference is probably related to them as well, the actual players of Toa Samoa.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any Samoans in that team, I don't think.
Nah, not that I know of.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting you, the whole concept of your players like that, no?
Yeah.
So, can we introduce, I know there's a lot of you here on the podcast, and probably you guys broke the record for the most people on the podcast, none of mics, but it's all good. But since we're on camera, and to those of you listening on audio, you're going to go on YouTube to see the beautiful faces we have in the studio. Can we just go around and introduce everyone and just say where you're from and stuff like that?
Oh, hey guys, my name is Miko. I'm from Southside. And I play the role as Alpha, as the Samoan born. So yeah, that was my role in the play.
Hi everyone, my name is Helen and I hail from Westside at the moment. And I'm playing Bella in the play, and I think she's from New Zealand, so New Zealand born Samoan.
Yeah, obviously I don't really need an introduction.
Those ones.
Hey, calm down. Name's DJ. I return with the Tyson character. And yeah, I'm the writer of this play. Sweet.
Thank you. So I'm Lucina. I play Tilwila, who is Afa's older sister, cousin. And I was born in Samoa as well, but we moved to New Zealand. I was born and raised out Southside, Otara to be specific, but I reside elsewhere at the moment.
Sorry, can I just... Hi, I'm Tans. I play Auntie Silla, and I look after my nephews, Tyson and Ma'a, and New Zealand born Samoan.
Should I say no?
I'm so sorry. I only said I was Afa's sister because he had introduced himself, but I'm also Solo's older sister, like biologically. Afa's our cousin that we call brother.
Yeah, she already explains more to pass it on there. Nah, what's up guys? My name's Christopher. I play the role as Solo. My sister, my on-stage sister, Lucina, her real name, but she plays Tiwila. And we have my on-stage brother over here, Well, he's actually like my far ass cousin, but like
That's too far.
he got
bro.
adopted into the family. So yeah, he's my on stage brother over there, and yeah, that's Christopher Flo playing as solo.
Hey guys, my name is Sa'ili. I'm also from Otara, and I play the role as Ma'a. That's my brother Tyson over there. That's my auntie Sela. Yeah, and I'm excited for this. Can't wait to play this on the day. That's basically me, eh? Yeah.
Sure. Man, shock guys for coming in. And have you guys done acting before and stuff? Was this like a new experience or for you guys?
Can anyone answer?
Yeah.
You want to
just
go
go.
around the room?
No. Anyone. Answer.
Oh, anyone?
I think with me, before I got into linking up with these guys, I was actually a pro wrestler, if you remember. So like pro wrestling and acting, it kind of goes hand in hand. So like to jump off the pro wrestling scene and then jump into like live acting, it's a bit of a transition, but it's like stepping into the unknown for me. So yeah, it's, if you can say that's experience, then yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
So it's easy then.
Okay, just to sum it up, yeah.
How about you guys? Anyone else? Like, has everybody here done acting before this play?
I haven't. So I've done background work. I've done music videos where I've had to be the main character, but this is actually my first to be one of the main characters and say lines. So no, I haven't.
But now you are. Now it's going to go forward to be and trying to make it as a career then, do you think? Yeah. But that says so much for what DJ has done, because I heard him on 581 on his interview saying, trying to make a platform for anybody and, all of us to, there's a platform for all of us to have a go, in the field of arts. And this field of arts, which is, because we talked about it, or you talked about it with the girls on, I scooped the other podcast about how theatre work is new to us, but not new to us in terms of like us performing in front of people, like acting and that. When we talk about White Sunday, we're doing it as kids. We're born to do this stuff, and it's good that we're finally. I think a lot of us Pacific Islanders are finally getting into that professional theatre space. Oh.
I've done performing before. I studied for 2 years diploma at BIPA, but I then fell off the wagon and then back on thanks to DJ. So that's my backstory. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Graduated 2012.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so been a minute.
So when you were there a lot of Pacific Islanders?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a few, and it was nice to see that you have different Pacific Islanders coming out of their comfort zone. I guess we all know that we are natural performing artists, whether it's either in Lokameki, Sunday school, even just randomly with your friends. You can put on an entertainment for some people, but actually putting it into the theatre show and actually having a structure, it's amazing to see, and it's amazing to see our Pacific Islander people actually putting shows out there. So, and it's not many that you see, but you see a lot of up and coming shows now. So it's nice. Yeah. Yeah,
because the first guys I really saw get into theatre space early was the Naked Samoans. Like those guys probably set the bar for everybody. Yeah. Oh, set the bar, but sort of pioneered the day. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, we inspired you guys, and that was a while ago. And it's good to see other performing crews coming up. Like you got Suli doing his stuff, So, do you guys think it's a good place to be in now? Because it's a good start. Because we need more. We need more of it.
Yeah, I think it is because, like you said, we all have a talent for it. But I think having the platform of being able to tell narratives such as the one that we are now, I think that there's a lot of other narratives like that we actually go through where we don't subconsciously pay attention to. But I think like this story, it sparks a conversation. So I think it's definitely good that we starting to move into these spaces, starting to realize that we already know we've got the talent, but now how do we put this into play? So yeah, I think that's definitely, yeah.
Yeah, cheers to that, sis.
It's good to see you, and I notice you guys, are passionate about this project. You guys got casted into this play, and it's interesting to me that you guys are in it 100%. Like, you guys know what the vision is, what DJ's vision is, and what you're trying to do, the story you're trying to tell, and that story of identity, which is a big topic especially for New Zealand-born Pacific Islanders. The story of our identity needs to be like out there, so because we all deal with things in our history growing up. Where do we fit in? Especially when we're born in New Zealand, and we probably don't know the language as much, but our parents do, and we're sort of left out and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that story of identity is a big one and important for people like DJ to make something of it. Yeah. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
I think it also creates an opportunity for us to kind of look at ourselves, because I'll be honest, when I read the script, I actually had to check myself because I was New Zealand born, but I'm very well versed in my Samoan culture, and I've had the opportunity to live there. And because I have that, it wasn't until I read the script that I was kind of like, oh my gosh, how do I react to people who aren't as well versed as me? And I've realized that I have a bias that I wasn't quite aware of. And so I think it's a good opportunity for us to kind of realize the things that we aren't doing. So instead of reacting the way that we would act, perhaps it's time for us to be like, okay, maybe we could educate, or maybe we could start talking about how we each have knowledge, but it might not be the same. And so how are we going to merge that instead of just looking at it and being like, oh, you're fob or you're plastic? Because I think that's where the Samoan saying about how Samoan crabs always seem to bring the other crabs down, as opposed to a Chinese crab, which helps to take the other out. And I think it's small things like that, but if we start to make a difference, then that could progress to bigger things. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and there's a lot of things that could come just from something as simple as the narrative that's been painted in this production.
Yeah, because when I think about that subject, when I think about my childhood, going through all that stuff, but when I think about the kids of like my kids, how they're growing up, it's totally different. Like, maybe it's not that. I like to think that they don't. It sounds sad, but probably they don't really care about this kind of stuff, because I don't know how they grew up into this next generation with different kids around them anyway. Like, I don't know, but it's my experience with my kids, like growing up in schools where it's not just hanging out with unders, they hang out with everybody, and it's like, not when I was growing up, it's just hanging out with all the brown people, like, it's always separated and that, but yeah.
I think,
Me? Okay. I'm just hiding in the back, guys. I'm Antonio. You guys can just call me Ants. I'm the music side of the show. But my input on that is just touching base on, like, you say your kids and their upbringing is different to yours. Everyone's got a story, and I feel like this is just one of a million more to come. And it's quite a privilege to be a part of a team as well, just to watch them grow as well, and just acknowledge also DJ here for creating such a safe space for everyone to play these characters, to tell this story that would cater to a lot more that might have just been going through their journey of what's the difference between a fob and a plastic fob, you know what I mean? Like, it just goes back to that as well. But yeah, that's me.
I'm Antonio. I'll be floating around taking photos. So ignore me, but I just thought I'd add my 10 cents in.
Yeah.
He's just the driver.
So coming back to the story, DJ, like, you know, the theme of it is more so identity off the back of the Toa Samoa, you know, the parades thing, and that's a really interesting way to bring that story in, because you're right, Toa Samoa did a lot for Samoans all over the world. You know, you saw the parades on TV, you saw, we even went to the parades, you know, and it was big all over the world. And like, for me personally, like experiencing that, I remember like telling the kids, jump in the car with your flag, we put the flag out the window and we'll drive up to the parade. We had the parade out in Pass Park out here. And just, I remember just driving there and seeing flags on the street, other cars, even islanders coming out, Samoans coming out of their homes and waving the flag on the street, you know, on top of their driveways. You know, everyone's beeping the horns. And I've never seen anything like that before, you know? And it was amazing. And man, I felt like real proud, eh? And it was a feeling like, shucks, I can't believe a small team like Toa Samoa, who probably, you know, hardly anyone of there are from Samoa, you know, born in Australia or here, can bring everyone together just like that. Even the island of Samoa, you know, they had to go do the parade over there, you know, and you saw it on social media and all that, how big it was. And yeah, I just remember thinking about it like, this is so awesome. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
It's just hard to describe it. I mean, when I was at the parades, I just had that mindset of, I'm going to create something here because this is something I want to do. And then, well, fast forward a year later, look where we are.
So, and it's that feeling you had, the same feeling I had, probably made you, man, I got to capture this feeling again somehow, or put it in a bottle and take it in the future and show it to everyone again. Like, it's part of the plan, like part of your vision, trying to recreate that feeling again for the people in the audience when you do the play.
Yeah, it's to recreate that history, and also it was just a proud moment. Like, it's hard to describe it because wherever you went, that's all you saw. The parades, people's cars with flags, people on the streets, especially in Mangere and Otara, South Auckland, West Auckland, man, even in Australia and even the States and Hawaii, it was everywhere. Like, it just made you proud to see everything on social media, like, and it just gave me an idea. Look, if no one's going to put a show together or even a film together based on this, then I want to spark up the movement and do something about it. You know what I mean? And yeah, we got something here. It's a team effort, and I'm really proud of that. Yeah.
You know what? Let's go around the room and just talk about your experiences of the parade, the time of the parades, the time of Toa Samoa and the World Cup. Let's do that.
Yeah.
It was a proud moment for a Samoan team winning. We made history, like, that's a thing to be proud of. But that's one of the most unforgettable moments that we have, and I embrace that. Like, for me, because my first Samoa it's not that good, but like for the show, I actually want to tap into it, like learn our Samoan roots and how we speak, how to pronounce the word properly. It's just, like, the show is, yeah, amazing.
So did you go to any of the parades? Did you drive down and did you have your flag outside the car?
I tried to skip work. So if you see me in my forklift, but now, we went down. I went throughout my lunch breaks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just support the brothers. Yeah, that was me.
I think even before I got to experience the parade experience, just seeing it for me, like, I just envisioned every other Samoan and how, I think the word would be pride, how proud they were of being Samoan, and knowing that, like you said, it's a small nation, but we achieved quite a big thing. when I went to the parade. It wasn't planned, but just seeing it, I mean, it was like days after, but they were still like in that moment. So even seeing that, yeah, I think that was probably the highlight for me. Just seeing people embrace, even people who weren't Samoan. But I think that spreads across generally, like that this could be anybody, and we would celebrate it. But knowing that it was Samoa, yeah, I think that's what made it.
Are you a sports fan? Do you watch sports a lot? Or?
If I have to.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it depends on what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Proud, and man, yeah, it was everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I can say. Just proud.
Oh yeah, same thing, eh? Just proud. No, I'm kidding. No, but for real, legit. That was a season where I actually received my malu last year in November, and that was just before. It was with myself and my second eldest daughter, and I had my many reasons why I wanted to, of course, honor the family, but then. When the last game happened, and you can still hear everyone in the neighborhood still celebrate Toa Samoa because of that pride, because they helped unite us around the whole world. Nothing can beat that. Nothing could ever take that moment away from us. That was ours, and you can hear it everywhere. You just drive past, you drive past people and they're standing outside their houses with their flags, and it's just like, you beep, and they're like, yeah, it's on. And you're like, yes. And my girls are popping their flags out, almost trying to jump out and be like, yeah, I'm proud, woo. And I was like, yeah, no. So it ignited something different, in our hearts. So I was really grateful for that, to say, yeah, I'm Samoan, And it is, like, as the show about, as the show says, what's the difference? If we can unite like that at the Toa Samoa, we can unite every day of our lives, throughout the entire year, no matter if you're Samoan born or New Zealand born. So that's a good point about, what's the difference of where you're born? You're still Samoan. Yeah.
Nice. You just reminded me about that final, because I remember waking up early in the morning, because I think it was an early game. Early game. And I knew there was a screen down in Henderson, down there. Yeah. They put a big screen up down there. But I didn't go down there. I just stayed at home and watched it. But I came downstairs. My whole family was asleep. Cooked breakfast. And I had my Manu Samoa jersey on, because I never had a Toa Samoa jersey. So I wore the Manu Samoa jersey. And then I had my champagne, because you can have champagne for breakfast. And I was ready. Sat down, watched the game, man. And then, win or lose, man, we made it to the last game of the whole tournament, and that was enough, So proud, because when they beat England, that was such a emotional ending to that game, and man, we made it to the final. Hey, we faced the Kangaroos. We know they're the top team in the world. Who cares? We made it. We're in the last game. No one else was there but us and the top team in the world. So yeah, that was an event. It was an event.
Yeah.
It was an event. And when I think about sports these days, like, I think we're far behind when it comes to like having an event, sort of thing. Because when I think about, because my team, I support the Blues, and it's like kind of boring when you go to the games, and it's not really an event. I know people are in Auckland. If you're a Blues fan, you're a die-hard fan, but it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same if you're a Samoa fan, if you're a Samoa fan, and you're making an event, and I think that's the power of what happened, on top of the parades and all of that, the coming together of everybody. Yeah, which is awesome.
100%. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it could be like we've been the underdog for so many years. Yeah. That like everything's always pinned up against us. Like the top tier teams, like everybody knows, like England's gonna take it out or Aussie's gonna take it out, whatever. But they don't put their best interest in a small team like us. So when us underdogs, we defy the odds and make it to how we made it. It gives us that much like satisfaction. that much pride and joy. So I think like when you see the parades and everybody's still parading, like I don't know, like after 2-3 weeks later, and he's still proud, and I think that gives like other teams like a good wake up call there, like win or lose, rain or shine, like we'll still fucking wave our flags. Like 685 to the world. So like with me, like when I went to the parade, I went there to go clean up.
We all know your famous video that came up, that went viral.
Bro, I was hoping like it would bypass me. Bro.
Do you want to say your experience during the time of the parades?
Oh yeah, just a time of unity. Yeah, like I'm Afakasi, I'm Afa Samoa for Maoli. Translation: I'm half Samoan, half Māori. It was a beautiful thing. I follow the league quite closely. Up the wires. And just had to add that in there. But you know, that same pride I hold for my Warriors is the same pride I held for our Samoan boys. I've always been big on why can't our Pacific Island boys play for their nation teams when it comes to World Cup. I understand, it comes to money, but when the boys took us to the finals, it wasn't about money anymore. They made a statement that they're there for pride, they're there to represent, and that's what I loved about it. Win or lose, man, I was there. And when they were about to lose, man, the house knew. The house knew, even if it was 3 o'clock in the morning, man, they knew. I'm a proud Samoan. I can say that not just because of Toa Samoa. Before this, I was, the Tuolangi brothers. I watched them growing up. They were my inspiration. So like there is a deeper sense of pride I hold to Samoa. But when it was the parades, man, my experiences were crazy. The sirens were crazy. Both sirens, the ones that play music and the ones that play the leo sounds, But it was a beautiful thing because, there's the big difference between the Samoan and the Tongans. And to see our Tongan brothers stand side by side and build that brotherhood, squash the beef, they were behind us. Like I said, unity. It didn't just bring all us Afakasis and all us Samoa people together. It brought everyone internationally together. We had Filipinos I had seen that, waving the Samoan flags, showing some love. Just goes to show, like, it's an event. It wasn't so much an event, it was fate. I think, in good times, good things happen. And Samoa just made a statement, It's not a coincidence, it was meant to happen. But yeah, up the wires.
Oh, here's a question for you, Ants. Next year. Oh, no, this year. Because the Kiwis are playing Toa Samoa. Who's RTS playing for? Who do you want him to play for?
Yeah. It's Samoa. Like, respectfully, I feel he should be playing for Samoa. But again, if you look into his history and stuff like that, he is born and raised in NZ. So out of respect, he plays for New Zealand. But I'd love to see him wear blue. I'd love to see him wear blue one day. But then again, with his experience and knowledge on the field, man, it's unmatched. I think we could have won. But we did win. We made the finals, and that was history. So I love that.
If he makes the tour team, where do you think he should play? Because they're pretty stacked already in the backs. Then
I'll chuck him in the centres. And then if he plays Gaia, then he'll play the bench. He'll play the bench. I hope you're watching Up the Waz. I know you're coming to me next year, but man, wherever you go, do your thing, man.
Centres. So who loses out then? Is it Tango or Crichton? Who loses out?
That's a tough one. I think Crichton, and I think I would like to chuck him in the back. Right and fullback. They'll swap around because Crichton's knowledge on defense is crazy, and RTS will just shut them down. His defense is crazy as well. So both of them it's just swap positions,
Oi.
Sorry. So it was just your experience during the time of the parades.
For me, it was I think like everyone said, a proud moment. Being New Zealand-born Samoan has been very difficult because I do have Afakasi nieces and nephews. Mum and Dad was very strong on their Fa Samoan in the household, so it was like growing up with that. But then having half-caste nieces and nephews, it's like seeing them like hold that flag real high. That was a proud moment for me, knowing that they are Samoan, and whether you're 1%, you're Samoan. So that just brought that out of them. And that was mine, just seeing my kids being proud to be Samoan. And to be honest, if that game didn't go the way, like, that everyone wanted, I think they'll still be on their Palangi side. So it was good to see. It was really nice to see my kids do that. So yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. I think for me, with the parades, it was a bit overwhelming because this is the first time we've seen our own people on a big stage, like the Rugby League World Cup. The way that the players were able to carry themselves, I think just shows who they are. Like Junior Paulo, his parents were so proud of him, even to be captain. You talk about Stephen Crichton, Brian To'o, like all of that was just mean as. And even I saw a video on TikTok back in the homeland where there was these kids that were playing, I think near the beach, and they had like a goalpost or something, and I think they kicked it and they kind of tried to recreate the whole scene, and it touched me. Like it really showed how much they value the game over there, same as how we value. So I feel like we underappreciate it over here, but it's also, we should embrace it, just like our DJ was saying. So yeah.
Nice. Coming back to the story, like when you're writing the story, like these stories that we just heard of everybody, like how much of these stories that everybody's said on the table helped you inspire for the writing of this play? Like is it a specific part of these stories that we heard, like the pride stuff?
I guess for me, it was just a sense of unity and proud. I guess when I was just planning this whole thing, when the initial title of the show before I was playing around with the names, I actually had Win or Lose as the title before. Like I had 3 titles. I had Win or Lose, the Toa Samoa story. The second one was Twists and Turns. And the third one is the official one, which is What's the Difference? So I had 3 titles lined up. So when these guys mentioned Win or Lose, I was like, that was the original planned. And for me, I just wanted to go ahead and plan that straight away. I think I was just overwhelmed with everything that I just wanted to get into and get it done there.
So how much research did you do? Like, did you interview people and all that?
No, I just watched footages and did a bit of research. Yeah, and then I just went off and studied the parade videos on TikTok and social media, and that's where I gathered all my ideas, and then, yeah, the rest is history.
And how long did it take from idea to put it down on paper to finished product? Because did you have to start again a few times? And
yeah, I actually started November the 22nd, and then right up until Feb, and now all the way right through till mid of this year. So it was a long process, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it was a long process. It wasn't easy. Like I could have folded in the first go. Like didn't want to do it, because it just does my head in sometimes. But I didn't want to give up because.
Is that because you're like, what do they say? Writer's block. When you have writer's block,
yeah.
Is that what you had?
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, but I wanted to fold on the day, but I didn't want to. Just never fold, man. I never folded, so I kept going. The reason why is because these guys here around me motivated me to finish the story and keep it going. So
yeah. Oh, so you guys know each other before the casting and that? This was during casting you're talking about. You wanted
Yeah,
to
so
fold
this
it.
was the plan, yeah.
Oh.
This was my plans, yeah,
Oh,
before
it's
any of
sad,
these
man.
things. Prior.
These people are like, got these guys a job and now you're going to quit?
So good, so good.
So now that we know.
What about our coffee date? What?
Come on, man, don't throw me under the bus here.
So, this goes to the casting process. And like for you, like writing the story and just getting the idea in your head, like who's going to play who, what kind of character you want to see, envision for that character, what kind of actor do you want to envision for that kind of character. Does this go through your head as you're writing, creating the story? And then, yeah, is that what you think about?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I didn't want like an actual fob into the play, but like I wanted someone who can play it. Like, it didn't matter if you're fob or even if you're fluent. Like, as long as you can do the job, then that's cool. Like, that's what it's all about for me. Like, if you can nail the job and do it. If you can do the job, then that's all that really matters to me. Like, you don't have to be, outside of the box to not be able to do it. But if you can do it, you can do it, and I have faith in you to do it. So, yeah.
So at the end of the writing, now it's time to like get the cast. Like, how does that start? How does that work?
I reached out to these guys.
Yeah, how did you know?
So,
these guys?
before I explained that part of the thing, so the first person I approached was Lesina through TikTok. I was like, hey man, big fan of what you're doing. Would you ever jump on stage? And then she goes, yeah, so I'm planning a show this year and would like if you keen to jump on. And she just told me, oh yeah, sweet, that'll be my first time.
Oh.
So
TikTok, oh.
That's where it started. The second one was Kingston.
Yeah.
Got my kiss the floor. I jumped on his live video. So I also want to jump on the stage, so get you into the show and stuff. And
I see a pattern here. It's like TikTok people. Wow.
no, and you're right, because that was part of my plan.
Yeah.
Because I see potential in people who does TikTok and does all these creative stuff. It's like, you know what? If these guys can do all these skits on TikTok, I want to see them do it on the stage. Because if there's a reason why I gathered 3 people that's known in TikTok, is because I see potential. And not many people will tell you they see potential in you. And this is what we have here. Same with Saili. He's another one. The editor. So, and then Mika was me, him, and Ants go way back. So I gathered him first, this guy, and then after that, called Ants, and that was it. Tans was also a last minute. I called in, I video called her, told her about it. And Helen was pretty much a last minute replacement substitute. So.
Do a better story than that, man. Do a better story than
But
Helen.
yeah. No, Helen was someone who I met through this filming of the I Got You series. That was on the CocoNet, so that's where I met her, and I brought her into the show. And that's about it, how I got these people involved.
Yeah.
These people.
Don't quote me on that. Leave me alone.
Shucks, cool. So when was the first day of like starting rehearsal? Is it rehearsal? Is that what you said? How you said it? Oh yeah. So when was the first day?
Do you guys want to answer that, or do I?
Exact date, guys. Come on.
Do you want the exact date or like?
Oh
roughly?
no, just roughly, And
Roughly, it started like a month and a bit ago.
oh, was that enough time? Was that enough time?
Well, if you got the talent, I mean, one more. Nah, but it was like a month and a bit ago, and I guess our first rehearsal, I only met a few of them, and the connection was there. Yeah. I feel like if you don't have the connection, then it's gonna be a rough process. but the connection was definitely there, and it just came natural. I mean, if you put your mind to something, then you'll definitely get it done, whether you have time limit or not. If you really want this to work, then you'll make it work. So, yeah, a month and a bit ago, guys? Yeah.
Man, to me that sounds like, man, that's fast. Like it's a couple of 2 weeks before you start performing now. Performing the thing, and you've only had a month and a bit already. So yeah, to me that sounds like, man, I'll be like panic mode. Like,
Yeah, because that's why we're professionals. Perform under pressure.
Oh yeah. Go.
No, sorry. I just wanted to say there are a few of us where it's just our first time to actually be on stage, and we've been taken under the wings of professionals that help guide us through it and support us and just give us advice throughout every rehearsal. So that's why we're able to push along pretty fast within the small time frame. Yeah. And we pray. We always pray in the beginning and in the end. So.
Wow.
100.
Oh God.
Is there any singing in the play? Any singing?
That's what he does.
Oh.
That's when he comes in and takes over.
Yeah, so there is a bit of singing. It's all in planning. That's pretty much just in one scene. It's just the local scene, the church scene. We as people, like the parades, 65 to the world, let the parades begin. It's about unity. We all meet up on a Sunday, Saturday, whatever your Sabbath day may be, and we sing. That's our voice. That's our safe space. And the singing part of it, man, it's gonna be intense. I've got 2 very special songs set for it, so man, excited to see it go on stage, because I hold one of the 2 songs really, really close to me, and yeah, excited to see how it all unfolds.
Are these original songs?
No, so these are not originals. So these are already established songs. So they're Besesa songs, Samoan Beses. They're quite traditional, well known. So like if you do come to the show, you will definitely know the song. And if you don't, then obviously you're the plastic. But then again, at the same time, it's just gonna the way that I've got my team to perform these songs, it's gonna take them back home. In a sense, it's gonna minister to them in a way to want to revisit their history of being a Samoan, what it is to be Samoan, and how you're supposed to live your life as a Samoan, opposed to what the media portrays us to be.
Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. Can't wait, man. Because one thing I learned from your conversation with the girls on their podcast was how it's interactive too with the audience. Like everyone gets a flag, or do we have to bring our own flags? Or
I think these 2 over here have got those plans with the flags to give out to the people. But yeah, if you can come and bring your own flags, then that's cool too.
And that's all part of the reenacting
that's
the
all
moment
recreating moment, and
which
the
is
parade
cool.
scene, and it's just being proud, like just to grab that flag out and wave it, like man, if you're not proud and you don't wave it, something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, that's the first that I want to do, or maybe the second.
Yeah. So with everyone here, how often were you guys rehearsing in a week?
It was 2 nights, sorry.
Every day, come on, guys, learning your lines.
2 nights together, but individually.
Yeah.
We'll ask the A+ student.
Perfect attendance.
Yeah, bro, 100%. Now, I think like with our rehearsals, like, because we all run busy lives. So like some of us some of us are parents, and some of us have like other things outside of what we're doing right now. So when it comes to time, like we're trying to fit it with what we're doing, and in the early parts it was just like once or twice a week, but then as we start bonding a bit more, and then as it's getting closer to the show date, we're starting to rehearse a lot more during the week, so we have to find the time. We have to make it a priority because we're like 2 weeks out, nearly 2 weeks out. So I think like this is the time where we need to knock it down hard on our lines, bond a little bit more with each scene, because it's all gonna show when it comes to show date. When like we want to be not underprepared, but like over prepared, if you want to say. But yeah, like earlier on, it was only like once or twice a week just to get just a feel of each other. And from my experience, man, my first rehearsal was a bit of a walking on eggshells because the floor is known for saying some dumb shit. And then I think within that whole day, I think I bonded a lot more with the crew, with these guys, and they found out that like Kiss the Floor is not what you see on TikTok. That I am a friendly person. Yeah, so I was a bit half and half, like saying yes to this role because I know like Kiss the Floor is a bit of a straight out the gate kind of persona. So when I walked through the doors, bro, I was just it was kind of like walking on eggshells, and I only speak to those that want to talk to me, you know. And then after a while, bro, everyone's like, you know, Kiss the Floor's not actually what he's like on TikTok. Yeah, you're all good. So I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah. And then I think from there, like everyone we kind of just bonded from there. Even our group chat is like out the gate as well. Bro. Like, our whole vibe, like there's no awkwardness between all of us. Like we don't have to like be mindful of what we say around each other. We all just give that vibe, like brother, sister, older brother, older sister, daddy vibe. But yeah, like this whole crew, man. Like I think what DJ did with looking for the actors to play these roles, I think he did a good job because we all. It wasn't hard for us to try and fit into it. It just came naturally. So I think this guy played the fob role pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, that's my experience, and like leading up to like show date, bro. Like we have to knock it down hard on rehearsals and getting these lines and getting these scenes like to perfection. Yeah.
How much different is your character you play to the real life or to the Kiss the Floor character? Because on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being bang on, where would you put your character to the Kiss the Floor character? And the negative? Is it negative?
Next question. Yeah, total opposite.
Negative.
That's why we sat there looking at the script like, he's going to be the humble? Okay.
Yeah, I think with me playing solo, I kind of just had to channel my like what my little brothers, how they act around me. So if you do come to the show and you see me acting a certain way, it's because I'm trying to use the character of my little brothers. Like if I'm telling them something to do, they're like, "Oh, I'm kidding," like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but I think like it's a good mixture from Kiss the Floor being out the gate to solo being a peacemaker, and I think it gives me like actual homework to knuckle down on a different character. Because in pro wrestling, I'm a bad guy. On TikTok, I'm just an out the gate guy with content, and then when it comes to solo, it's a calmer side. To like it's something new for me, but at the same time, I like challenges. So when someone gives me a challenge, bro, I want to live up to the hype. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that's interesting there with actors. Like when they have to play a character, that they're going down to research, try to figure out what this character is, so they can probably act it. And using a device too, like you use your little brothers as that to help you bring through. So that's a good thing to go around the table again. Like, let's talk about the challenges you guys faced of trying to play your character. Like, how different this character is from your real life personality, and what was the challenges you guys faced to turn into the character?
I think for me, with playing Ma'a, I think trying to really resonate and try and get deep within the character, because I think as actors, it's not just playing a role. We're telling a story. We're trying to be the character, and even just my own personal struggles. I have a hearing problem, and so for me, I think trying to get used to it. I think the great thing about my hearing problem is that it's built my character. I think being more resilient, and also with the acting, I guess, with Ma'a, it's embracing the character. I think that's probably the struggle, the challenge. And that's been me.
For me, the challenges of my character, being a fob,
Because you're not really a fob.
Look at his attire.
Look how he's dressed, man.
He's first class.
No, but the challenges is trying to tap into the way they think. That's what really gets me, because we all think differently, and watching my uncles and like overseas and that like talk to us is funny, but like to them it's like actual
Like normal.
it's normal to them. So I'm just like, oh, okay, this is how they talk, and I'm trying to mimic them, but it's hard because we were born here. So that's kind of one of the challenges that I go through. But this alpha character is really getting to me. Like, my English was Mako a burger. Like, I blame this guy for it. But no, yeah, that's why I play it well. Thank you.
You're welcome, bro.
So my character is Bella. I forgot to mention she is Tyson's ex. It's actually quite a big challenge for me because Bella's very flirtatious, very money hungry, very pick me, and I'm quite the opposite. You'll see when you guys do attend the shows, there's a part where she's in the clubs, and during rehearsals, these guys are like, do you remember that you done the clubs? And I was like, I've only been to the club once. I don't know what they do. So I think it's try to channel that side of me that isn't really me, trying to get out of my character, but also making sure that the idea of who Bella is, that I hit it on the head instead of holding myself back because it's not who I am. But I think that's the challenge, is tapping into the me that's not really me.
I think with the party side of that character is probably easier because we got heaps of cousins, or probably ourselves too. Like, you know, that used to do that in a way. Like,
yeah, I usually
members.
just watch from like afar. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep. I'm gonna go eat. But yeah, I think actually being able to see it should be the advantage for me, because now I just have to imitate what I saw.
Yeah.
I guess the challenge of my character is trying to create a new version of it, because in the last two shows that I put out, he was like a real badass, like doing all the wrong things, but just trying to channel a positive side of things with the character. But then there's always that one character that tries to wind you up in the story to get you to come out of that shell of who you once were. But it's like, nah, I'm not for it, man. I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I did that, did this, did that, and I'm trying to change my ways here. So in my Tyson character story, it's like reformed, renew. He's redeemed himself, and yeah, it's just a new light for him in this show, and it's new to me because like I'm still trying to figure out what am I gonna do with this new channeling of the character, because some of the audience members, they know what the character is and what it was previous shows. So I guess for them to see a new version of their character is something intriguing for them to see. It's like, oh, you'll see what this character's going to be like this time, now that he's reformed and he's new. So pretty interested in that, but it's also still a challenge because you're so used to being the so-called bad guy with a badass attitude. But you see how we go. But that's that.
I got this.
Okay.
Thank you, bro.
Already did.
So for Te Uila, being the older sister, at first it was difficult for me to tap into her character because I thought she had to either only be 0, 50 or 100 until I got to talking to a few of the cast members, DJ and Jace, who helped out immensely. We figured out that she's really good at going from 0 to 100 as a typical Samoan older sister, that voice where it's just like so loving as a sister, then okingia you, growl you off like a mother. And then I realized, oh, she's a lot like me. Oh, yay. But I worked hard to try and understand who she was, and I didn't know how to embody her into who I am. And then I realized that we're quite similar. And my brothers helped me, and my best friend helped me very much to just be myself, because the story really tells itself in the way we connect and the way we can bring the energy, the vibe. You understand that it's genuine. So that was the challenge. That was my challenge, and I think I'm getting the hang of who she is now. Yeah.
For me, it's quite similar to Sina, Te Uila's character. When DJ sent me the description of the character, I was like, well, you didn't look far for your character, did you? It was quite hard because his previous show, his mother passed, and so that was hit home for me. So it was trying to separate the personal and the actual character itself. I'm not going to lie, I'm still struggling with that. However, I have amazing cast that helps me along with that. So it's being that character and then trying to be me. It's like, it can help me sometimes, but then I get too caught up in it, and it's like, okay, that's not what Auntie Sela would do. So still trying to push back on that's not actually me, just, just play the character and try to separate my personal from that. So yeah.
It's like it's like freestyle, eh? Like you sometimes comes in your head, nah, she wouldn't do that, and then back off, and then you back off like during the time. Huh?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think there's a scene where I struggle with a lot because it's like, this is what I would do, but what would Auntie Sela do? And I've had so it's like, no, that's Tans. That's not you. That's not Auntie Sela. Step back. But then I get to a point where I'm overthinking this. Like, just go with the flow. And then it gets back to the whole, oile, this is not her. You need to step back. You need to step back. You need to see what Auntie Sela does. So that's what I struggle with. That's one of the things, yeah.
Does anyone else have that as well? Happen to them? Have that same problem?
Oh, yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
But we all help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did the answer was on?
So what was the question again?
So the challenges you face trying to be your character, because how different is your character to your own personality and that?
Also for me, it's It's easy. I'm experienced in the sense of acting. So I know how to. It's more or less because I'm an aspiring artist. I'm looking to start pushing music up myself. So I know how to tap in. I know how to switch on and switch off. We did a few improv scenes. I think they might have seen how I was able to just switch on, switch off. It's quite easy to do that. I'm the jokester of the team as well. I like to just add my 10 cents, be the last guy to have the last say. Always picking on Afa. But when it comes to me, I'm just doing music. So it's pretty much I'm in my space. Just come through, you see what I do, and you'll definitely see what these guys do. Because like I said in the beginning, I tend to just hang around in the back. I'm quiet at rehearsals, loud when I need to be. But next week they're gonna feel the full force of what I'm about. And I'm sure DJ knows what that's gonna be about as well. Because when push comes to shove, man, it's only 2 weeks away. I'll definitely give these guys tips on how to switch on, switch off. And I've just been helping out the Uso a lot. Mika, he struggles a lot. I didn't know that everyone had that problem, so it's good that we've had the space to talk about it. So coming into next week, I definitely know when to pick and choose moments to pick out and help out. So yeah, when it comes to me, it's quite easy. Like I said, just years of training for me. I'm just channeling into finding who I am. I'm still on that journey, which makes it even easier to tap in to who I am coming into the show.
Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to hear you sing that part you mentioned before.
Yeah. I'm no Chris Brown, but I try. So
He's a Luther Vandross.
Awesome, guys. Man. So, what should we talk about now? What should we talk about now? So, what's left to do between now and the start of the show, in terms of like, I know you guys got to rehearse, get the scenes running there, but is there anything else that has to be done before the show?
I guess just to see how it flows now from the top to the top to the bottom, and just like Ed said, know when to switch on when it's time to get switched on to do the work, and know when to be playful when it's needed. I'm also like him too. There's a place and time for everything. But I think moving forward, it's just starting from top to bottom, and also gathering the music elements from his crew and bringing them in and hearing what they, how they sound and stuff is something that we all look forward to. And also with some of our extras as well. So that's another part of the show that they also would be part of, is that part, because they do play an important role. They're not just extras, but they also play an important role. It's not just us, it's everybody in it. So, yeah.
What's the look of the play going to be like? Like, what we're going to see on stage? Is there a lot of like backdrops and props in that? Or?
Yeah, there's props. Not too sure about backdrops as of yet. Definitely props, wardrobes, costumes, and some of the other stuff as well. Yeah.
How hard is something like that to organize in that? Because I know you've done shows before. Like, what have you learned this time around from what you've done before? Like, is there anything that you said, like the last show you did, like, is there something during this time you thought, I'm not going to do that again? Or are there things like that happening? Because you're constantly learning now.
Yeah, it's still a learning process for me, even till now. I'm learning as we're going through rehearsals. Like, I'm learning everything, but I guess just trying to not overthink about things that you need for the show, like props. And also just trying to figure out, not just stress yourself about these small things. But yeah, that's something I should have done better in the last show, but I want to adapt that into this and be more prepared. So yeah.
Is that because you never had enough time last time?
Yeah. Last time, because of COVID, we didn't get much rehearsals as we are doing right now. So, how we're preparing now, I'm very confident that we can nail the job. Compared to what we did last year, we couldn't really, obviously with the restrictions and everything, we couldn't do much.
Yeah, there's been a lot of content coming out now. Like I'm just thinking about what's been coming out on TV and stuff. Like to tell you the truth, I haven't been to play since high school, like high school play and stuff. And it's something I know it's there, but never really went around going because our people don't really do this sort of thing. This is like new,
Yeah.
and it's good. yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. But other than you, because I know you're doing it. I know Suli's doing it. Who else is out there doing stage production?
There's Troy Toa. Obviously Jace Manmu'a. Amanaki Prescott from Inky Pinky Ponky. Lecky Jackson. Right. There's a lot of them.
Because Inky Pinky Ponky, that was a stage production before.
Yeah, originally was. I think it was in 2013.
Oh, right.
It was a staged production show.
So it was old?
I can remember, yeah.
Oh, true.
But then they turned it into a film and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was 2013.
Tap in.
What's on this?
Who's wasted off the top, right?
See, that goes back to the time I said, hey, I was picking on this guy. Now you guys can see why.
Because that's something that you can aspire to, like having your shows go on TV.
Yeah, that's always been the goal. Who knows, we could turn it into a film after this. Yeah.
I watched that Inky Pinky Ponky a couple of weeks ago on YouTube. How'd you guys like that one?
That's why I look like Mossy.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like seeing your friends up there, like doing the things they love. It's like they're winning, we're winning. So that's why I like it. Yeah.
I think it was a big deal to just appreciate and acknowledge the person for who they are, not tell them who they can be, and not judge them, no matter what my beliefs are. Because I'm a staunch Christian, but I've had aunties and cousins who were gay, and I loved them no matter what. And it's the same with this. Like, I think that's what this put light on to situations like that within families, and it doesn't give a child a voice, So he's hoping now that adults have seen it, because it was performed by adults, portraying what their child would have gone through and felt alone. He's hoping that they support them more and want to get to know their child a bit better. Yeah. And just accept them for who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that at the end of the film, like the last part when she goes with her mum and goes out. That was the moral of the whole story.
Yeah.
What a lesson there, eh? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
No kissy.
Now, I think like with those kind of like movies and films and situations where like, especially in the poly community, like we're too proud to mention those kind of things. Like it's taboo. So like if a brown brother or brown sister like us puts those issues or those situations on the table, 9 times out of 10, bro, like mum or dad or auntie and uncle would just take that shit and throw it underneath the rug and say like, you don't know what you're on about. So I think like watching Inky Pinky Ponky, like it's shedding light that it's all good to speak up about what's going on. Like you're not alone. That's why God gave you a brain to think and a mouth to speak. Use it. Don't ever let anybody like shut you down and try and tell you like your problems are not worth listening, because it is. And I think with that film and with our production that we're doing, how we're trying to normalize like that there shouldn't be a segregation between New Zealand born Samoans and Samoan born Samoans, because like there's always a fine line between there, because one fob, can't speak proper English or is broken, and then 2 New Zealand-born Samoans where we're not fluent in the mother tongue. So we get called plastics, and it's always that segregation. But then somehow when the Toa Samoa parades came along, like we just didn't give a shit about that. Like we all just, fuck that, bro. Like you're Samoan. We don't care if you don't know how to speak the language, bro, but you're Samoan. I mean, like, it should always be like that, like no matter what. Like doesn't matter if you stay in New Zealand or if you're in different country, but Samoa still pumping through your blood. And if you bump into another Samoan, bro, and speak the language, it shouldn't distance ourselves because we can't understand it. And I think like what we're trying to do is like we're trying to normalize it where there shouldn't be a stigma. Like if we can't speak the mother tongue, bro, like help us. Or if you can't speak the English language, we'll help you. And I think with those kind of situations, bro, like it needs to come into light where it's healthy to have those conversations. And I think like with us Polynesians, like especially from a staunch background where we get told that we don't know what we're on about, just be quiet, shut your mouth. And I think we need to just drown out that bullshit and just say like, we need help. So I think, yeah.
I was thinking about the you know, you could talk about there was this segregation there between Samoa and New Zealand Samoa.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's segregation between Australian Samoans and Samoans in the States and us as well, you know, because we're all brought up different countries, different environments. We're going to be a different sort of person growing up, eh? So, yeah, so that's interesting too, that part of it.
Yeah, just to add on to what you said, I think one of the things as well is the reason for that segregation is I think we find that there's been a filter in a sense in how we've been taught things or the way that we've been taught things. So like our anganu'u here, and then we go to Samoa and they're like, that's not how you do it. Or you go to, you know, somewhere else and that's not how we do it. But I think even then we a lot of the time we tend to miss the opportunity that's there to say, oh well, then what do we know together? So then we can bring it all together and kind of say, okay, this is how it is meant to be, and at least we know. So when we see this the next time, we're not gonna be a'amu to them, because I know that a lot of us are a'amu, whether it's consciously or not. But we can say, this is how you do it. But you know, A for trying, because I think that's something that happens quite a lot. I know even for me, sometimes I might be caught in those situations where we don't know it, but we put people down because but we could have just said, that's a great way of starting now. Here's the right way of doing it. Maybe add in your twist, and then what you get in the end would be great. But yeah, I think, it starts a conversation and it sparks ideas on opportunities that we shouldn't miss, because I think we've missed a lot of those opportunities already. But I think, like you had said previously with your kids, because I know with my kids, I have kids that are raised here that are with me, but I also have a son in Samoa who knows absolutely no English, but is white as a palangi. And then I have my kids here who are as brown as ever and can't speak Samoan. So I know that when that time comes, when I combine my kids together, when my son gets to come back, that would be the opportunity where my kids would be able to embrace what their brother has learned from the islands, and their brother in the islands is going to learn some of what my kids here in New Zealand have learned. So yeah, I think that's also another opportunity as well.
Yeah, and just going off what the sis was saying, there was one key word I picked off it, which is conversation. That's one us Pacific Islanders struggle to have with our parents. And, we're comfortable to speak. Why are we comfortable to speak to our grandparents, our uncles, our aunties, our cousins? But the ones that brought us into this world, we struggle the most to talk about our problems. And, it's just finding a way to normalize, to have those conversations. It's something I want to happen. And tying it in with the play, it's what's the difference between a normal conversation and a deep conversation. There's definitely a big divider between two when you try to put it with your parents. There's only so much you can say to your parents depending on your upbringing. But for our Pacific Island community and people, brothers and sisters, I know for a fact that I'm not alone. Conversations are most hard when you want to talk to your parents. How many times have you sat at your door and said, "Can I go out with my friends?" You know, you're convincing yourself, and you go outside and "What's okay?" Then you're like, "Oh yeah," and you left it alone. That these are the conversations that need to be looked on and normalized in a sense, because there's a saying. I live by a lot of sayings. Iron sharpens iron, but then there's also another one. As a musician, it comes from drumline, one band, one sound, and that's initially what I want to see happen with this production. Is just to see it carry on. I don't want it to stop. What I mean by that is let the parades begin, and don't let it stop. Let this be the start of something new. Let this be the time for us to normalize what I have to offer, which is my music. A lot of people have a lot of things, social media aspects. We've got other aspects from everyone else and their backgrounds that I won't speak for them. They got a voice of their own, and they'll share in their own time. But we need to look at normalizing conversations with our parents, our own parents. That's what I picked off the sisters.
You're right. Especially when our parents are getting older, and we need to have those conversations. Like for me, like growing up, like I never talked to my parents about stuff, and I never knew what was going on because I'm the oldest, but they were together for 10 years before I came, so they had a good 10 years of going around and stuff, But I never know those stories. Only my older cousins know those stories, So, but then they never told us these stories. I gotta find them secondhand.
And also that because we're more scared to actually speak, because some of them, when we speak, they laugh, and that really gets us. So
it's the humor, eh?
Yeah. Like, it's funny, but it hurts. And like, it's just, like.
But do you think that's their way of dealing with a lot of pain and that, just to laugh about it?
But like,
and because the laughing side of things makes it, because it seems normal to me.
That's just some people. It's different. Like, some could take it, some can't. Yeah, even like when we're speaking, I have a habit of saying "ela ring." We're like, where's the ring coming from? Like, our parents just like should teach us proper instead of making our own words up. But like, but now it's just kind of too scared to ask for help because, of course, they'll mock us, and it's a normal thing, but it really hurts.
For the parents here, like, are we seeing a change now? Are we breaking the cycle? Are we encouraging our kids to talk to us like how we don't talk to our parents back in the day?
Yes. I've learned to tap into more of the nurturing side. It doesn't come naturally when you're a mother. You have to learn how to allow your child to be themselves, and they're all individually beautiful, which means they will portray something differently to the other. And I've gone through many things with my girls already. There's a period where I was a single mum to my two eldest. Then I met my ex-husband, and I was a single mum again before I got to start the show. And through all of that, I got time to really understand what they struggled with. And you have no choice but to, because, you're all they got. So as hard as it was, the struggle that I had, I was fortunate to actually make time. I could make time. And that's all they really want from a parent, just to be heard, just so they know that they can grow, not just be that afraid child even when they're in their adult years. But yeah, that's definitely me for my household. I've got 6 girls, so I'm blessed to give it all differently. And that, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is important to break the cycle, eh? Like, do it for our kids and that.
Yeah, I think just to add on. So, like, I think that's something that's constantly happening. I know for me, growing up with my dad, my dad was very strict, so there was no talking about anything that didn't concern a child. If I wasn't contributing to it, then I wasn't asking questions because I'm not the one doing anything. But I think now, even as a mom, I'm having to come out of my shell to talk to my dad about things and to tell him why. I think one of the things would be like mental health, how I might be feeling, what I might be going through. I've had the privilege of living in the islands, and that's not really something that's acknowledged like we acknowledge it here. And so that's a conversation that I'm having to break down to my dad. I think so that he can get a sense of trust that I'm trying to get him to understand that he's the person I'm coming to, that there's a sense of trust in both ways. And so even now, as a mum, I'm a very strict mum, but I also have to hold myself back because I too want that change, because I think now with like a lot of things going on with our youth, I don't want to be that mum that hears about her son or her daughter not being able to come to me or losing their life because they couldn't come talk to me about something. So it's definitely, I hate calling it a stereotype, but I think it is a stereotype of things being labelled taboo when they shouldn't be, because certain things we should be able to go talk to our parents about. If anything, it should be our parents that we should be able to go to talk about. So I think at the moment I'm sort of in a cross line between the generation of my parents and my kids' generation to try and make that change, so that when my kids get older, they can also then apply that on however they feel necessary. So
yeah, I think with the generations anyway, like every generation has a different environment, growing up. And right now we're in a time where technology is changing faster than ever before. Like, man, I was living in a time with no internet. Now we've got internet.
Yeah.
Our kids are born in the internet world, and I didn't even understand half of that stuff that's going on. So, and you think our parents will know nothing, absolutely nothing about what our grandkids are going through, because they never lived the internet world and all that kind of stuff, technology and that. They learn what TikTok is and all that, how to do a TikTok, but you know what I mean, eh? Like it's a changing world, and you have to know every single part of it to understand it, to know how to bring up your kids, but it's impossible. You can't do that. Yeah. And you can't say, oh, when I was a kid, we did it. Nah, because when we were back then, it was different. Yeah. So our kids are learning more than us now. Yeah. So I think the problem's still there. Not problems, but, like when you're growing up as a teenager, there's always the same stuff. But with a different environment, there's different avenues now. Kids can go on the internet, easy access stuff and all that kind of stuff. We can't hide from anything. We can't hide bad stuff from our kids anymore. It's impossible now,
Yeah.
So
I actually just wanted to add on to the sis. You mentioned that you're a strict parent because our dad was strict on you, and it's quite hard. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have kids on my own, but being an auntie and auntie's perspective, having the nieces and nephews come to you because they can't speak to the parents, it's like, I feel like it's their way of their door to get to their parents, if that makes sense. I have a lot of older nieces and nephews now that they come up to me and they talk to me because they can't talk to their parents. And for me, being an auntie and seeing how they struggle with talking to their parents, because I did as well, I feel like that's my door of being like, hey sis, I know you're trying to do this, and I know you're trying to do right by your kids, and all of that. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I feel like I'm their door to get to their parents, and that way it helps them to come out more. But honestly, just being an auntie alone, I feel like just because I'm an auntie, I do see my kids growing up. Their kids are my kids, and I will always hold that. And in saying that, it is hard for the younger generation to speak to their parents, but then trying to, how would you say, what's your favorite word? trying to speak life into them and saying, hey, it is okay to go to your parents. If you need someone there, I'm more than welcome to, you know. He didn't even answer my question, but I just had to look at him.
I have heaps of
But yeah, I feel like that's another way for the kids, the generation now, to, you know, speak their mind and, you know, go talk to their parents is through their aunties or through people that they can just open up to easily, if that makes sense.
It's also like, it might be a good thing and a bad thing, but because we're Pacific Islanders, we have this village mentality. You know, we live with large families. Our cousins are more like brothers and sisters. You know, it's not like the Europeans. They're just the immediate family and that's it. They don't have an extended family like their own. Like they don't live in a village, so they have to talk to each other. Probably that's why they don't have. Maybe they don't have these same problems because they do talk to their parents because there's only them. They got no one else to talk to. But with us Islanders, you know, we got everyone to talk to. You know,
and I think that's the thing. I think now just hearing and listening. I remember growing up, my dad, so we weren't allowed to speak English at home, and we used to get hiding. It would be like the smallest word, like it would be that, but if he catches you getting hiding, and he always used to say, ele oise Samoa, ele oise palangi o Samoa, and we always used to say, we live in New Zealand, why? But I think now in hindsight and just listening, I think they were really trying to keep the authenticity of our culture as authentic as they possibly could, because they knew that we were in a different environment. And so how do we, but it's interesting that you say that, because if you go to Samoa, in my experience, we had like, it was myself, my mom, my stepdad, and then we had the parents and the sisters and the brothers and their husbands and their wives and their kids. And so we all lived in this one house. So, you know, nothing that ever went on was ever went unscathed or ever went untouched, because if something was going on here, the other funny everything as well. And we were going to deal with that now or just leave it alone. So I think it's definitely a conversation that could go both ways. I think we as younger generations need to have that courage to say or identify with ourselves. If we really want to know who we are, where we come from, let's spark that conversation as scared as we are. And then even as parents, we need to be open to say, our kids are not going to get the knowledge from anywhere else, so we need to be open to share with them, to discuss with them why things are done a certain way, or why things shouldn't be done a certain way. It sparks a lot of conversation, I think, but I think it's conversations that need to be had. So like, you know, what you were saying with Inky Pinky Ponky, those are unique ways of touching on things that we've been keeping under the rug, like you said, or under the mat for way too long. But we need to start bringing this up, because I think then that heals like a lot of trauma, like your generational trauma that needs to be broken, because as much as we want to stay staunch to who we are, time is changing, and we need to be changing with the time whilst also remembering who we are and where we come from. So that's definitely.
I was the opposite growing up, because my parents said, because my parents, they talked Samoan only to each other, and so me and my sisters in English, and then we used to get in trouble from my aunties and uncles because we didn't speak Samoan when we go over to their house, and they'll tell us off, hey, tell your parents to speak Samoan to you. And then I remember asking my mum, like, how come you didn't talk to Samoan to us when we were growing up? She said, oh no, because we're in New Zealand. So what's the point? Like, you gotta do well at school and all that.
Now I speak Samoan to my I'll speak Samoan to my dad, and he talks English to me, and I'm like, do I reply in English or Samoan? Or I hear him talking English to me, because it's like truth. But yeah, no, that's so true. That's relatable as well.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. I guess with my parents, I think I'm not the only one, but it's approaching them, and having that space of trust. Like, is it a good thing if I should approach them about, oh hey, like, can you like teach me more Samoan and the language and stuff and the culture? But I think that's always been a challenge to me sometimes. Like, whenever me and my mum have a conversation, it's always just strictly English, but then she'll just remix it with some Samoans in between, you know what I mean? But it's like, if I was to speak Samoan to my mum, I feel awkward, because how I started to learn the language was through my nana, was through my grandparents, because I stayed with them for a long time. With my dad, it was different. Like he would speak Samoan to me, but it was more the English to me because maybe their mindset, our parents' mindset at the time was probably like, oh, I don't want to speak Samoan to my kids because maybe they won't understand. So I'll just speak it to them in English. And that's probably why we are who we are right now and not knowing the language as well. And, I don't think I'm the only one, that's gone through that situation. Even to this day, man, like, whenever I see my mum speak English to her, she replies back in English. Same with my dad. But but with me speaking Samoan, it's always with my grandparents. It's always like, oh, this and that, blah blah blah. Yeah, what do you want? Let me give mga away, blah blah blah. And it made me feel confident in speaking the language to them. But if I was just speaking to my parents, I feel awkward because I was like, because I'm so masangi to speaking English to them, and that's just how I approach it. But if I was to speak Samoan to a Samoan worker of mine, they'll look at me and they'll laugh and they'll be like, "Tolu, come on, he doesn't know how to speak it properly or whatever." Like if I'll say something wrong, they'll laugh. Or when they say something fobbish, then I'll laugh. Be like, "You're fob. They talk to me." You know what I mean? But that's where it creates conflict, is the language barrier. And that's the reason why the show is, what's the difference between me and you? It's the language barrier and the connection of, the backstory behind it all. So, yeah.
What I love about the creativity that you bring to the show is the angle of your message through the parades. Because that's why I asked you the question in the beginning, like, what does the difference mean? Because I can't relate that to the Toa Samoa parades. Like, what the hell? What's that got to do with that? But no, it's a good way of, the reason why it's during that time, because people are coming together, everyone that disagreed with each other coming.
Yeah. So before those parades, we were all at odds with each other, like putting each other down for saying, "You're plastic, you're fob." But as soon as, Toa Samoa made it through, they all of a sudden just became a unity and just come together as one. So in order to get to the parade scene is we have to tell the story on how we get there. And the backstory is how it all started with the language, if that makes sense. So that's the message I wanted to bring out to the people. Because, they may talk about it behind the doors, but we're going to be the ones who puts it out on stage and act it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say in that regard.
Nice. Just coming back to what you were saying, Kingston, about being taboo and not being talked about, but when you see it on TV and like shows like Inky Pinky Ponky and other shows, and you think, oh, everyone relates to it. Yeah. But it's because they had the courage to bring it out on these platforms. Yeah.
I think like if it comes out on film or in the movies or in theater, it's kind of like I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking out the gate, but like maybe the old school parenting, they'll probably just like, oh, it's just a movie or it's just a film. But then like if we had like situations or something that we wanna open up to our parents, if we, I don't know, like 10, 20 years later, finally mustered up the courage to say whatever's needs to be said to our parents, it's still going to be hard. As long as it's on the film, in my opinion, as long as it's on the film or theater or in a movie, the message will get out there, but then it'll just fall on deaf ears, in my opinion. If we continue to try and push that message out there, like the message that we're trying to push out in this play, that it doesn't stop with this play, that someone in the crowd might take that message and maybe feed it into their whatever profession that they take on. Because like the last thing I want us to do is like we done all this hard work and we're trying to push this message out there for it to stop on that Saturday night. And then it just falls on deaf ears, like, oh, when's the next show for, did you hear about, what's the difference? Nah, they came out last year. Like, they, all of a sudden it's forgotten. And like, if us Polynesians, like, if just stand the fuck up, bro, and just say what's on your mind. Because like a Balangi man can say it. Yeah. Other ethnicities, they can say it. But why can't we say it? And like, I think with Inky Picky Ponky and with our production that we're doing, it's like a filter, or not a filter, but like like we're trying to drop that seed, and hopefully that seed will be planted into someone in the audience where whatever message that we're trying to push out there, like that's something that they've been holding on to for so many years or for so long or whatever, that maybe they can muster up the courage to have that open conversation with their mum or dad. So yeah, that's from not from Kista Flaw's point of view, but this is actually from Kingston. Yeah. Like these conversations need to be addressed, or like there's no shame in having an open conversation with mum or dad. Because you never know unless you take that first step. Like some people take like 20, 30 years to finally open up to their parents. But by that time, bro, mum and dad's already at an old age. Like they don't know what you're saying. It doesn't give that person closure. But if you step out of the gate, bro, and say you've been holding on to the secret, or you've been holding on to this trauma for so fucking long. It could be like a year later. While your parents are still alive, if you open up that conversation with your mum and dad, like you don't drown your issues, but you have a proper one-on-one talk with mum and dad. Because sometimes people will see their parents as like they're on a higher pedestal, some kind, and it's hard to have that bridge when you have your conversation with mum and dad. And I think with me, with my parents, how I was raised, like I wasn't raised in a household where we spoke Samoan. I was raised the Whapalangi way, but in the midst of my upbringing, I did value my Samoan culture. My mum, she didn't speak the language, only my dad. So when we were hanging around in home, we always spoke in English. So when it was time for me to learn the Samoan language, I just had that mentality like, oh fuck, I can learn it another day. I think as the years went by and I started growing into a young man, and I come across like, getting a job, and then when people see me, they're like, oh, you Samoan? Okay, yeah, I'm Samoan. Then they speak the Samoan language, and then that's awkward for me because like I don't know how to respond. And like 9 times out of 10, bro, like when they ask me, are you Samoan? I'm like, yeah. Before they speak, I'm like, oh bro, I don't speak Samoan. And I think from there it makes it awkward because they look at me up and down, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find a broom, go sweep up something, yeah, just to clear the air. And like I think when I got my Samoan tattoos on me, it's me trying to let everybody know, like if I'm walking around with like a singlet or a t-shirt and you see Samoan tattoos, that I am Samoan. But I still get asked the same question, bro, like, oh, Māori? So like with me, like I'm still learning as I'm going, especially like I'm trying to stay true to the Samoan culture and the Samoan values, like with getting a songamiki. My dad's next in line to get it done, and then he's asked me to be his partner, and I'm like, bro, I'm not ready. He's like, well, I want you to be my partner. I was like, bro, I don't know how to speak the language. I don't know the Toa Samoa way. I'm not fluent in the language. If I do get the bit done, that means it's my time to serve, and I'm not ready to serve. I got other stuff I need to do before I take up that role. And then my dad just looked at me like, I think that was my way of bridging the gap. Fuck, sorry.
But you know, it's not about knowing the language. You don't have to know the language. And that. It's
Yeah, no.
like there's a few stories out there, but the one that resonated to me was the story of getting it done was because you serve.
Yeah,
And that's the main one. If you serve people, if you serve your family,
yeah.
well, you deserve it. It's not about knowing the language and that.
Yeah, I think with me, like I'm not ready yet, and I think my he's already at that point where he's ready to get that title and get that better, and because he wants me to be his partner, I'm like I'm not ready yet. So I think I don't want to say like I'm letting him down, but like it's just me telling him that like where you want me, I'm not there yet. So, yeah.
Fuck.
Nah, yo.
I just wanted to touch up on that. Can you guys hear me? Just speaking from experience, my dad it didn't matter if we had our la'e to explain what we do in our families. I think you as the eldest is already a big service in your family. Hence to why your dad would return to you and said, because in his heart, he would have believed you're ready. But it takes time for you to, work that up in yourself. Yeah, I just thought I'd say that to my brother, so he knows.
Nice.
I need to get my out the gate self back now. they don't know me like this, man.
I feel like that's when it comes with the whole 1%. It doesn't matter if you're 1% or 100% Samoan. You're Samoan regardless. And I feel like it falls on that person. Whether you feel like you're ready or not, that's totally up to you. And when that time comes, man, you'll be there. You're amazing. You'll be good.
That we just touched on maybe another theme of the play. Yeah. Like, what's the difference means a lot of things. If you think about it, identity and the struggles of New Zealand born Samoans and that, and yeah, it's just there's so many stories that can come out of it, And to me, I'm just realizing how big it is. It's massive. And I'm trying to think like it's not the small story about a parade and how we're supporting this. All of us are supporting this one team. It's more than that. It's the coming together of all these ideas of being lonely or being left out, feeling left out, and it's massive. I'm just getting. I'm just feeling it. But
sorry, Wolves.
So I'm glad. I'm glad that DJ over here knew this right from the beginning. Yeah. You knew this, eh? You knew it right from the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Sorry, he said earlier in the interview, he went through 3 different titles, and then now we're sitting together having this discussion. What's the difference? Isn't just one question. It's probably like a million unanswered questions that need to be addressed, need to be looked on. And our story that we bring with what's the difference is probably one of many other stories, like I said before, that needs to be looked at. What's the difference between Samoa? What's the difference between being, whapalangi, but you are Samoan like me, a whakasi Samoa, a whamaoli. What's the difference is probably like the best fit. Just tonight, I think all of us can agree that now that we really think about it, now that we've actually sat down and had time to talk about it, we're all actually here, apart from our other big help, Jace. We're actually sitting down and having this real deep conversation, picking at what it is, talking about what it is, just having a talanoa about it, and being able to see where we all at. It's quite, like I said, man, I'm the guy in the background, and I'm seeing this all unfold tonight. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing.
I also want to add on to that too. Sorry, bro. So how that name What's the Difference came from is Dr. Dre's What's the Difference Between Me and You song.
Of course.
Right? Now, for me, my mindset was to be the Dr. Dre version of Ryder, right? Because remember, he does music. I wanted to be the writer of the whole thing. That was just my mindset. And when I came up with the name, I called Meeks. I called Afa, right? And I video called him from Australia, and I told him, also, I got a name for the show. He goes, oh, what is it? What's the difference? And tagline 65 to 0. Do you remember that conversation, Sully?
Yeah, I remember.
I called him, and then before I even like launched it, I was happy with it, but I didn't realize how big of ideas it would be right now. Like, shit.
Shit. It's cool, like, because you just know people will ask, you know, what is the difference between us if we do have that bit of blood in us, you know? If we do walk out of this show and say, I am Samoan, so why don't we get along? And I think throwing in the Toa Samoa, where we all spoke about unity, it was an event, you know, it just showcased how we could come together. I think throwing that into his idea of making sure that was in the show was to show the people that we do, you know, regardless, we unite because we are one nation, no matter where we live, no matter what your background is, how hard it was, or how strong you are in the values of the Fa'a Samoa way. You still matter, you know, because it runs through your blood. You can't erase that. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's add on. So, the night that he called me, I just finished work. And, he just called me, like, excited. Asked me, what do I think about the name? What's the difference? I was like, oh, no, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But, like, I was just thinking, like, the hell that got to do with the show? But then he told me, like, the song, like, the lyrics, what's the difference between me and you? And he kind of explained it, like, difference between the Samoan born and the New Zealand Samoan born. And I sat there, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of smart, like. I never thought of that, But yeah, that was a conversation.
Sorry, and then from there I started, and from there I just started pumping "What's the Difference" soundtrack on my way to work and afterwards. Everyone was like, "Hey, he's playing his theme song." Yeah, bro, that's me. What's the difference between me and you?
You know how we talked about the struggles we faced and that all different kind of things growing up, identity and all that kind of stuff, and these platforms that are out there that allow these stories to come out to everybody to hear, you know, to inspire people. It's like, to me, like, we already know the answers. Like, if we feel like we're alone, if we're struggling on something, we feel like we're alone, but we don't know that there's hundreds of thousands of other people doing the same thing. Why don't we know that? And it's platforms like podcasts and TV and YouTube and plays and social media or whatever that comes out that make people think, oh no, that person had the same problem, you know. And it's amazing to me that we still find things on these platforms and get inspired to, you know what I mean? Because it's like, shit, there's a lot out there. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be alone. But why are we constantly thinking, when we see something, we think, oh snap, I'm not alone. Duh. To me, I'm like, duh. No. Why do you think you're the only one? Like, is it because we're not talking?
I think that's the thing with us, is when we're so caught up in life, it's hard to. That's not what we're thinking on our mind. Who else is going through this? Who else can I talk to? It's, what do I got to do? Survival mode. So I think that's the beauty of being able to do things like Inkipi Ponki, because I remember seeing people who had watched it with like staunch as aunties and uncles who were emotional, who don't, like in real life, they don't support that kind of thing, but watching it on screen. And so I think it's important to have these kind of things because it gives a different perspective. You know how sometimes when you're doing something wrong, but you don't know you're doing what you're doing is wrong because you're just thinking that it's right, but it's not. I think it also helps for us to snap out of that mindset of thinking that we're the only ones going through this, or that our story is the only story that's like it, because there are quite a lot of other stories that are similar to us. And I think when we find the courage to come out, when we find the courage to be able to find platforms such as this to talk about those untouched subjects, then we can also find the beauty in finding that remedy. And I think that's the beauty in the cast as well. I think Kingston had said that people might disregard it, but I think that the opposite could also happen. Someone might go home and be like, that Auntie Ciela, this and that, but all we need is that little conversation for them to be like, well, actually, am I like Ciela or am I like Bella? What do I need to do to not be like Bella, or what do I need to do to kind of avoid situations like what we see in the what's the difference?
And it's that we need more of, because different situations require different stories, and we need these different stories to be out there.
Because I think now just thinking about the name as well, I think it was meant to be, because I know us living here in New Zealand, if a fob came to New Zealand and you saw him somewhere, you would know he's a fob. But I, as a New Zealand who went to Samoa, they seem to know that I was from New Zealand. And so what's the difference is the perfect thing, because like one of the brothers or the sisters had said, when it was the parade time, it wasn't a show me how much % Samoan you are or how much Samoan you can speak. It's like, yeah, you're Samoan too, yo, let's go, so I think it's definitely a lot of things that could be brought up just from what's the difference.
Because even with Christopher, like with your social media, right, you get a lot of engagement out there. With a lot of people disagree with you, but a lot of people agree with you. But I think you're an example of someone that speaks out what's on a lot of people's minds, but don't speak out.
I think like it's not every day that you see a Samoan or a Polynesian that pushes content the way that I push out. Where my colourful language and everything that I talk about. Wow, colourful language. Nah, but I think like it's not common to see a brown brother that does what I'm doing, like with pushing out content in Crystal Floor, because like with the content that I'm pushing out, there's a message behind it, but like if you just bypass all the swearing and all that kind of stuff, there's a message behind it. But everybody just everybody just like focuses more on the he's just too much if this and if that. But then like in a way, I could like quiet it down a bit, or I could say like I don't know, push out a content where I don't have to swear. But I'm sorry, but it just comes out naturally. like tonight where I'm just swearing my head off sometimes. Yeah, but like, I think I wouldn't say that's what separates me from everybody else. It's just, it's not normal to see a Polynesian do that kind of stuff, especially on social media, because every Polynesian family, they were raised with like, be well-mannered, well-spoken, well-groomed, well-dressed. I mean, like how many fucking Samoans you see like tatted up, swearing his head off and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I think with me, it's just that's just how I am. That's just how I speak. Some of the content that I push up is agree to disagree. I didn't try and force whatever I'm speaking on to make you agree. I mean, like I got people like disagreeing, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, bro. Then I'm on to the next content. Like I don't carry that with me, and I don't keep that on my mind, and then that's gonna affect me with my wife and my kids. I think with me is like, it's just like going to work. Like you go to work, clock in, and then clock out, go home, and then all the bullshit that happened at work, you just leave it at the door, because like the last thing you want to do is like walk into your home, and then you got all this fucking pent up frustration, or you're too busy worrying about what that troll has said in the comment section, or what that person did to you at work, and then it just puts a whole strain on your marriage. You're distant with your kids, and that's the last thing I want to do with my family. So like that's why when you see me doing content, I'm always doing it in the car, away from everybody. And then when I come back inside, they're like, "Where'd you go?" I'm like, "Oh, just went to the shop." sometimes, bro, like, I think my son, my oldest boy, he's starting to like feel the effects of being the son of Christopher Law, because like he goes to Howard Intermediate, and there's a lot of people, like a lot of his mates, they watch my content, and then they even gave my son the nickname of KTF Junior. I'm like, bruh, go get your own name. Nah, but like I think with him, he likes the attention, and with me, like I do my content, push it out, and then when it comes to like family time, going out in public, like doing grocery shopping or just general stuff with the family, my mindset is just I'm with my wife and my kids, pushing the trolley. But it's my son, bro. He's the eyes for me. So he's looking at who notices me. And then like we're walking through the aisles and he's like, oh, Dad, I think those guys know you from TikTok. I go, why? Because they keep looking at you. I was like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't care, bro. Just follow Mum. And then with his mates, like I'll go to like his assemblies, like for award shows. And I'm trying to tell him like, Mum and Dad will be there, but we'll be at the back. But as soon as I walked in, they're like, oh, surely that's Christopher. Or like even their parents will come and take a photo, and then because his teachers are Palangi and Indian, they're like, are you famous? I go, nah, I'm not famous. Oh, rugby player? I go, nah, all Islanders look the same, bro. Yeah, but then my son, he's like so proud, like, nah, that's Christopher. Because like even with his PlayStation account name, I think it was, like, it's Christopher. I'm like, solid. And then he'll take like one of my merch to school when it comes to Mufti Day. I'm like, bro. Like, I think with him, like, he's so proud that people know his dad. But then I'm trying to tell him, like, bro, that's what Dad does. I mean, like, you don't want to get caught up in the crossfire where I'm talking something that's going to go against the grain and you're going to cop a lot of flack for it because they know you're Christopher's son. So you're like the easiest target. So when someone that doesn't agree with the stuff that I push out, his son or his daughter could be going to the same school as you, and then they could be venting to you about why they don't like me, and you're going to cop the flack. And then the last thing I want him is to come home like bawling his eyes or come home frustrated because of some of the shit that I push out, you know. So with social media and my family life, I try to keep it separate. Like I was saying earlier, that's why I do content in the car, away from my wife, away from my kids. If I'm doing content with like raising awareness with like human sex traffickers and stuff like that, same thing. Like it's just me in my car, for those reasons that I stated earlier. Yeah. So.
Because when I was thinking about you, like, and I was thinking about what we were talking about before about conversations we don't have with our parents, and instead we're putting it on platforms. Yeah. These issues, right? Are we seeing, because we're doing more of the conversations or topics on platforms now, like we're sort of, it's like overriding. Hey, well, we're not talking to our parents, so we're talking to everyone else.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think it's we're in the era of social media where it's easy to make a fake profile and then address your issues with that fake profile. So say like people are too scared to show their face and talk about their problems because people might notice your face or notice your picture. I think that's the beauty of TikTok, is that you can be whoever the fuck you want to be. You can be a troll and have like user and all these numbers kind of as your name. But if you try to do the same thing on Facebook, you can't, because you have to have your real first and last name. So I think with TikTok and all these other platforms, I think some people, that's their way of reaching out without being like identified. And I think that's like one of the easiest ways compared to back in the days where it's hard to, because we didn't have internet back then. We just had dial-up.
And letters.
The landline. We just had the landline. We just had
All the
landline.
line wires and stuff, yeah. So I think like in this day and age now, it's easy to talk about your, not problems, but like talk about like what's bothering you behind a fake profile to like social media platforms like West or like with other mental health platforms where they have special guests and then they have comment sections where people are just, oh yeah, bro, I can so relate. And then everybody that has a fake profile or a fake name, they're opening up in the comment section because they're scared of maybe being identified, like maybe their family member follows that same platform and then bump it to them the next day, like, Tole, since when? Like, when did you have that problem? And then I think that's that person's like safe space, is to be that fake name or be that fake profile, like be that catfish just to open up. Wow. Yeah.
Sorry, that was my juicy thoughts.
I think just to add on to Brother Tyson, I think it creates either a gap or a bridge, depending. I think a bridge because it could bridge that gap between parents and kids, where kids could be able to see things on social media and parents would pick up and they were like, why are you watching that? It's like, well, because she understands my feelings, or he knows what I'm going through and he's telling me, and that could then start that narrative there. But then it could also create a gap because then kids could also then do the opposite, to say that, you know, because kids always think that their parents are fiapoko, but they don't realize that their parents have been through it like 1,000 times over. And so sometimes then kids wouldn't be able to, you know, sort of differentiate the differences between why their parents might say something and why the exact same thing coming from someone else would mean a totally different thing. But I think even then that would create sort of like an opportunity for us, because I think even the skill of discernment is something that we lack. I think a lot of kids see things and they're like, oh, I want to be like that, but they don't see what goes on behind closed doors, or they don't see that life and glamour is just like this. It's just in their garage, but when you go outside, there's like nothing in the cupboard, and there's families struggling and all the other stuff. So I think depending on, I don't know, each person and their situation, it could either be a bridge or a gap, I think. But that then gives us, I think, as parents, whether of our generation or our older generation, the opportunity to sort of look into that. Because I know for my dad, I'm like, Dad, use the Facebook. We'll create your profile. We'll show you how to do it because you can contact me. He's like, no, I don't want to learn, you know. Just even getting them into that space of, you know, it's not for this, but it's so that you know what's going on, because we don't know, like you said, we can't hide anything from our kids. And my kids come back to me and tell me stuff, and I'm like, where did you hear that from? Because I just want to, and they're like, oh, it was on this and on that. And I was like, what is that? You know? So I think, yeah, it's definitely, depending on the situation, it could be pro or con, but I think that kind of encourages us to maybe look into those things, because I think there shouldn't be a gap either way. We should still be talking, having those conversations. I think we just need to find out what our kids or what our parents or whatever is going to social media for, and yeah.
And just like the also we're saying, we're in the era of you know, like internet being the big hype, social media, TikTok's popping off at the moment. And goes back to what the sis was saying as well. Secrets, you know, there's a lot of secrets, and people use platforms such as YouTube, podcasts, and everything else to open up and speak about. And the beautiful thing about that, there, like she said, there are pros and cons to it. But the thing that comes out of it is, you know, so many people are too whakamā to come forward and talk about things. They're too scared to talk about things. But you know, I've seen a lot of, I've had my fair share of like different things on my For You page. A lot of people have, and I've come across a lot of friends from school. You know, I never knew were dancers. I never knew were singers. That's their safe space. That's their secret that, you know, that they were too scared to pursue. Their dreams they were scared to pursue. And they used the platform to not seek validation, but, you know, just a sense of accepting that they've got a gift, a talent, despite what's being said in the comments and stuff. It's kind of like their medication to their mental wealth. I don't believe in mental health. I believe in mental wealth.
What's the difference between mental health and mental wealth?
Mental health, I think, is just two words, but when you put it with mental wealth, your mental wealth is your bread and butter. To me, if your head's not straight, you're not straight. I live by the saying, I've said this to, I think, countless people. I used to stream, had a consistent of 230 people like nearly every night. And I always used to sign off with, you guys stay sick, you stay blessed, until next time, let's go. And then I just sign off. But I always, whenever someone jumped into my panels, there was 4 boxes, and they started venting to me. I used to do this thing where, can you just shut up real quick? Can I just say something real quick? And then they're like, oh yeah, oh shit, yeah, yeah. And I'm just going to put you on mute, but I want you to take this advice that I'm going to give to you. It's real simple. Fuck mental health and take care of your mental wealth. Know who you are and know what you stand for. And when you know what those two are, you'll know the difference between both. And you'll know how to balance. The saying I always give to people is, your mind is your home. You own it. You've got to learn to rent it out. The only time you go back is when you have to fix it. Get straight out. Your mind's a dangerous place. And I stand strong on that. When you're left in the dark for too long, what's moving? Not your eyes, not your chest. Your mind's moving. What's that noise? Or it goes from what's that noise or what did I do today to deeper and darker thoughts the more you're left alone. That's why I'm saying, you know, your home's, you own it. Your mind is your home. You own it. You got to learn to rent it out. And only go back when it's time to fix it. Don't stay too long. If you can't, leave and come back later. Because that's what they do when they really fix houses. You know, plumbers. I'm struggling with that one at the moment, man. You know, shit's broken, but they I'll come back next week. Sorry, that was 2 months ago, man. Come on.
Where's this plumber?
DJ, is there going to be a sequel? Because, you know, one thing that fascinates me about our people, like the word Pacifica, like what's that going to look like in 20 years' time? Like how much of the culture will be diluted from the islands, you know? When our kids, what's that going to look like? And what is the culture going to look like out there? Because I think with what happened with the parades, like it's strong. The culture's there. Like everyone identifies as being Samoan, but that's all it is. It's just being Samoan. Like, what about the culture? What's the culture going to look like for the generations from being New Zealand born? You know, our parents came over here. They had us, and what our future generations going to look like here compared to back in the islands. Like, how separated is that going to be? Because I think, that's just my opinion, but I just think 50 years from now, it's going to be totally different. And I don't know what it's going to be. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's like,
That's
you know,
deep.
you know, with social media and all that, you know, like, it's changing now.
Yeah.
And we'll be long gone when our kids, what's that going to be? You know, is it still going to be the same thing with the flags when Toa Samoa plays in 2075?
Ooh, man, it's a tough one, eh? Yeah, I haven't really thought about that part, to be honest. Put me on the spot, eh?
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. But, you know, it's important. It's cool that the parades happen and that unity happen. Because that shows how strong we are, you know?
Yeah.
The identity of being someone, no matter where you are, and the message that comes across in the play. Doesn't matter where you are, how much of the language you know, we're still Samoan, you know? And we all came together for that tournament.
I reckon by that time period, I don't know, this is my guess and my opinion, I reckon by that time period it'll be a lot more improved. Like there's more sense of getting a clear understanding of the language that time around. But yeah, no, it's a pretty tough topic here because I haven't really touched base on that as much. Do you want to take the mic?
Was that okay? Maybe what else to? Anyway.
You don't have enough to go.
Take it away.
I think I'm hoping that the next generation and the generations to come, 50 years from now, man, it's a lot coming through. They know how to utilize everything that we can't now. Do you know what I mean? If you look at our generation now, there are so many artists that are coming out with, because we're storytellers. And if we know how to speak things into life and bring it out of the dark, within households where they don't speak on certain subjects, if we know how to do that now, he's hoping and praying that our kids and so on know how to do it better, but on bigger platforms, not just in theatre. And I think that's all we can really say is if we can teach them now, he's hoping they can have that same value for the rest of their lives. Yeah.
I believe that because we're already doing it to our kids.
Yeah.
Like we're teaching our kids what we learned when we were kids.
Yeah, definitely.
But okay, that was cool, but that wasn't cool. I'm not gonna teach my kids that.
Yeah.
And if that goes on for generations, it's gonna be a totally different person. The culture will be totally different by that time.
Yeah, but in saying that, at least he's hoping that they look at the history and, continue to pull that back in to say, oh, yeah, those are my ancestors. I know how I got here through them, so on. Look at things that are on TV, the movies, look back on those and be like, oh, yeah, my mum was part of that. I remember she explained this and that.
Because what you're talking about is improving.
Improving,
And if we improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? What's the final product? It won't be ever final, but what's that product going to look like in the end?
Yeah. True.
We're already having platforms to discuss things that is taboo because we know everybody's going through it and we need a solution to these things that everyone's going through but no one talks about.
Yeah.
So what's the next one going to be? Like, I'm sure our kids are going to grow up with problems too.
Yeah.
It'll be like internet problems, TikTok problems. And, it'll be like stories about that, and that and so forth. Because one thing I always believe, and I got this from a movie, like the young always overcomes the old.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And because the young are feel book at the beginning, but they learn, and then they take things from the past and make it better for the future.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I took that and I was like, okay, so my kids will probably take my shit and make it better. And so on and so on.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same for culture as well. Yeah. And we've already seen that with and you can be traditionalist about it. Like when I think about Samoa in the islands, they're traditional about everything. So but that's cool because they're gonna have that tradition always. It will be slower to change because we live in New Zealand, Samoans live in Australia, Samoans live in States. We're adapting to those environments, those different cultures. So we'll probably change faster than over in Samoa. I think Samoa will always be the true tradition, OG stuff. And I think our cultures will be separated as the generations go.
Yeah, true.
So I think with any sort of identity of being Samoan, it's important that I think that we know that even though we're all different, growing up different, have different environments, that we are Samoan, and that's what's really important.
Yes.
And thanks for DJ and the play, man, because I think that message will be something that whoever's in the audience watching, because how many shows are going to be?
4. Yeah.
Man, I'm not going to take 4 tickets because I'll take someone's seat on the other 3 shows, but 1 ticket's enough. Let someone else experience, but I think, man, I'm just excited, just hearing you guys, thank you guys for coming, coming and talking about all this, because
Thank you for having us.
because it's important, man, and I'm just learning. Man, from when we started to now, I learned a lot about this play. Just learning from you guys' experiences. We're discussing topics that you know, we're all going through and need to touch on and stuff like that. And it's all part of the play. You know, it's all part of the message that's coming out of the play. So, so thank you guys, man. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, also, just on behalf of all of us, man, thanks for creating the space and for inviting us and having us on. But I'll let DJ say the rest because he's the leader. I just thought I'd be fair poko, you know.
Fair poko, your ass back over there.
Before you do that, can you just tell everybody where the show is, where to get tickets and all the details?
Why are you so to look at you? You can get your tickets online at Event Finder. Just search up What's the Difference 685 to the World. It'll be at the top as soon as you search it up. Also, you can follow our social media platforms, and the links are all there: Facebook and Instagram, TikTok. It's all there. You can follow us there, and follow our TikTok page, All In Crew. That's where all the little behind the scenes is happening with our promo videos. Cams, thanks for having us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, going back to our dates. Sorry, my head is all over the place. The dates is September the 6th to September 9th, which is a Wednesday to a Saturday night. It starts at 8 p.m. And bring your friends and your families to the shows. Bring your flags, wave them up high and low.
Are we allowed to keep the flags? Are we allowed to take them out?
Leo.
Just don't take my special flag. I've got.
We'll charge you 20, but we want it back.
But if you forget a flag, Mix and Ants will get you covered. So.
Shot. Any last words, guys?
Yeah, thanks, Cam, for having us tonight. Appreciate you bringing us into your space here. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you and everyone else there to the shows. And just one more little thing before we go, let the parades begin.
Let's go.